Here's the first pitch.
Except, here's a long one. Way back there. Adios Pelota!
You're already laughing, Mario. Listen, welcome to Adios Pelota again. I'm here with my boys Kyle and Mario all in one piece after this hurricane that went through down there in the southeast. One, I'm glad everyone's safe. And then two, I'm just glad the playoffs are here. Unfortunately, the Giants didn't make it, which we predicted. But we're going to talk about the bracket is solidified to us. And before you know who's going to start this, we're going to talk about Mr. Residential himself. Go ahead. The floor is yours to go ahead and bask in your glory.
Yes, I am. I am 9 for 11, which was the highest mark I've had in predicting anything for sports this year, which is fantastic. I held firm on Cleveland at the All-Star break. I was the only person that held firm on Cleveland at the All-Star break. I held firm on Seattle. The only two teams that I didn't think that were going to be there was Tampa Bay, which is a very underrated and under-talked about team. And then I thought the Phillies weren't going to make it. But for the Phillies to be out now, they'd have to lose the next 3 games. Milwaukee would have to win their next 3 games, which is possible. I mean, I've seen stranger things happen in baseball, but I think this is as set as it's going to be. I think this bracket with the teams that are in now is the best possible most entertaining playoffs you're going to get this year. There's a lot of hype around all these teams. You got a team in Seattle that it's their first time in 21 years that they've been in it. You know what I mean? You got Cleveland, who's the youngest team in baseball, who's snuck in there. Essentially, they took first place and they never let go after that. You got St. Louis with their story, with their old guys, with Wainwright and Yadier Molina and Pujols. Atlanta's been on a tear.
The stories, man, the stories. You know what I'm saying? Like so much stories.
The New York Mets, you got them. They almost they should have had the first place seed, but they couldn't hold on for whatever reason. Now they're playing in the wild card. San Diego's an interesting story because you want to know if they can do anything without Tatis.
Right.
You know, there's so much going on.
What about you, Kyle? Let's broaden the talks about this because later down the episode we'll actually start dissecting the brackets and who do you think is gonna go through and move forward. But overall, from your predictions, how did you look?
I mean, for the most part, besides the Cleveland, I think I did pretty well, if I do remember correctly. Cleveland, to me, at the time, was not the team to beat in the Central. But, as we know, predictions are predictions, and Minnesota fell on the second half, and they're now first. Overall, I think we're ready for some really good playoff baseball. And
for me, like honestly, like when it comes to this, one, I didn't see the Mariners. Well, I don't know if I didn't see the Mariners. I thought it was really tough for me to pick them, and Cleveland as well. I had Minnesota, and I believe I also had. Let me see. Oh yeah, I had your Red Sox too. So let's not talk about that one.
Yeah. Last in the
So
I did not.
Of course you didn't. All right, you already had the floor, Mario.
My bad.
But on the National League, pretty spot on. The only team was if you swap the Philly with the Brewers. That's who I had. Pretty disappointed. But after the Josh Hader trade, I was thinking like, man, there's a lot of things going on with them. It was time. There's a lot of predictions. I can't wait when we talk about this. But I just wanted to get your little flowers for your predictions already, Mr. Residential, since that's your new nickname. But let's talk about the rest of the league. Let's talk about grades, the team grades. All right. I'm gonna go hard on my Giants. Okay.
You
But
want to go division by division?
we could go
Yeah.
division by division.
Yeah.
So let's start with the National League West.
I'll get confused. I'll get super confused if we go like
Yeah, let's
at a division.
so let's go NL West. We'll start in National League because I'm really passionate about this one. I'm not passionate. I mean, I'm, you know, being a Giants fan, like if for all my teams that I root for, right, to include Stanford, which I will have displayed here one day. Um, I am a die-hard Giants fan, like a true. I'm not like a die-hard for the other ones. I will like I love those teams, but when it comes to my Giants, like I'm a fucking diehard. I fuck the Dodgers, all that type of shit. Now, with that being said, did I see them being floating at 500? We already predicted that. Mario, you said it in the beginning of Subtleflex season 1 that the Giants last year was not a fluke, but like it was a surprise. You know what I mean? Like we expected what we expected now to happen last year, and it just came in. It just came up. Other than that, to look at the NL West, it looks like how we predicted. Padres, Dodgers being up there. But the thing that I was really disappointed in is the Diamondbacks has our number, and that's pretty. I used to get mad when I used to look at the updates and like, bro, we're losing to the Diamondbacks every fucking game.
Someone might be selling secrets.
Bro, come on, like so like the Rockies are the Rockies. Diamondbacks is something you want to look at if they keep upgrading this offseason. Giants right now, you have a long offseason right now. Are you going to stay loyal to these teams, to these people that won you something 10 years ago? Or are you going to let go and start, building this team for the future? I don't know. What's up, Mario? Come on in and start talking about it.
I like graded these teams, like a report card kind of grade.
That's good. That's good.
So like with Colorado, I gave him a flat out F because I don't know what they're doing. They gave Chris Bryant that money, that $125 million. He played what was like a quarter of the season. I don't know what direction they're going in, but it's not trending upwards. Arizona, I gave a C+ because I think they overachieved for the roster they had and the things that they were doing. Zach Gallen had an amazing season.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? And he's, I think, going to be that entrenched ace that they have now. They have a good farm. They're building players around it. I think that they're trending in the right direction. So while Arizona I gave a C+, I gave the Giants a D. Okay, because I don't know, because they had that great season. That season last year was a fluke. You got to figure out who you are this offseason. You got to figure out if you're rebuilding or you got to figure out if you're gonna compete. But once you figure out which lane you're picking, you have to stick to it and commit. You know, so like you get a lot of players coming off contracts that frees up your payroll there to allocate towards players if you want to. There's been that Judge rumor that's been going around all year. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what they do, who they go after, if they choose to go after it. But if you go after Judge, you gotta commit.
You have to.
You have to commit. You have to commit. You can't go sign somebody like that and then be in a rebuild process. That's a waste of money and a waste of time, and you're just trying to put asses in seats. So, San Diego, I gave a B. They're in the playoffs, which is fantastic. They have that issue with Tatis, where Tatis was gone. That's not the team's fault. I get it. Their bullpen has been shaky. Soto does not look like Soto this year, whatever the reason may be. Luckily, Manny Machado has been playing lights out like a monster most of the season to keep them afloat. You know, you give up a lot, and you still have question marks, which is crazy. You don't know what Soto's going to be. You don't know if you're going to commit that money to Soto. You don't know what Tatis is going to be when he's going to be back. He's going to be gone for a whole season, and then the first quarter of the next season. You know, it would have been nice to see what they look like in the playoffs whole. The Dodgers, the Dodgers have an incomplete grade for me. The Dodgers have an incomplete grade for me, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because their season can either be one of two grades and one of two grades only. It's either going to be an A or it's going to be an F. And it all depends on if they win the World Series. That's how I look at the Dodgers. It's going to be an A or an F. That's that team. There's two teams I have on an incomplete, and that's the Dodgers. You either going to be an A because you won the World Series, which they haven't won a World Series of a full 162-game season since 1988, so that's yet to be seen. Or it's going to be an F because there's a lot of hype around this team, and you're either going to answer the hype or you're not. So,
Yeah, that's
floor is yours, Kyle.
So I kind of pretty much agree with everything Mario said except for the Dodgers. I get why you gave them an incomplete, but if we're sitting and grading these teams by the regular season and the regular season only, they have to receive an A.
On the regular season, yeah, it's an A.
Yeah.
But
best record in the entire. The thing that I like what you said about the Padres is how they're gonna look in the playoffs without Tatis. I think I would have actually loved and probably put them in the World Series completely whole. And like you said, you don't know what they're going to be like in the future and if they're going to give that money to Soto. But I think they would not have traded for Soto if they weren't going to give him that.
But if this is the Soto that you're going to be getting, is that the money you want to commit? I get it. At this point in time, like, you kind of have to. You have to commit the money for what you gave up for him. But, like, at this point in time, like, he's been very average.
That's a good point.
Like, do you want to commit $300 to $400 million over 10 years? Granted, he's only 22, 23, so, like, maybe it's a fluke year. But, like, that's a high risk, high reward kind of thing. And I love Soto. That's a high risk, high reward kind of play. And that, as a GM, that would scare me. So,
but I mean, you never know what you're gonna get when you trade for a player. Like,
true.
So,
and then Hader's been a question mark too, which is crazy.
Facts.
I didn't even bring it. Hader. He's been a question mark too.
I kind of seen it. He was butchering a lot of saves when he was with the Brewers towards the ass end of his Brewer days. Oh, to the Giants too.
I think the Brewers knew what was going on and they sold high.
Smart. It was smart. Just like a stock market.
I think they saw the writing on the wall and they realized they had Devin Williams and they could lean on him and be fine.
Right. They could survive with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like the stock market. If you know something was like dropping, drop him off first before he gets you. So that's probably
insider info. They had that insider info and they sold high.
and more power to them. So you talked about the Brewers doing that. We're gonna segue into the National League Central. I'm gonna go first. I'm not gonna grade them. I'm just gonna explain. But since you want to grade, I'll start doing that. From bottom to top, the Pirates are the Pirates. I'm gonna give them just a D. But the thing about the Pirates is there's a lot of promise in a lot of these players. I'm a real I love O'Neal Cruz. That man is he was government built.
Yeah.
There's a serial number somewhere around because that is not he's a freakish athlete. You already know how I like my boy at center field because I like them switch hitters. But it's the Pirates, so you know where they're sitting at there. I'll give them a D. The Reds, same thing. Not too big of a deal with that team as well. You knew the writing on the wall when they traded their best pitcher. It is what it is. They're done. I'll give them a D minus. I'm not gonna give no one an F. Like Mario's over here giving Fs and shit. But the Cubs.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but like, I'm giving Fs, but like, it's teams that like, I don't know what these dudes are doing.
True.
Like, you know what I mean? You commit money to people, and then you're like, you don't know what direction the team is going in. What grade would you give that? That's like
all right. Which leads me to the Cubs because what angle are they going with? They should have traded their players already. Like
they're going back to being the Cubs.
Why hoard those players in that spot. Just fucking trade him and get. First of all, I wanted them, Ian Happ especially. I wanted his ass on the Giants. We need an infielder that can switch hit, who could play the outfield. You know what I'm saying? That was one of my favorites on that team. I just don't know what they're doing, but I'm not gonna give him an F. I'll give him a D. So 3 Ds in the Central, right? And then this team, I had high hopes. Not high hopes, but we all know the standard with the Brewers. But writing was on the wall with Josh Hader. You've seen so many like saves that he butchered towards the ascent of his Brewer days. When he got traded, it already told me the writing on the wall for Josh Hader, and then you see his his value go down in MLB The Show. You can see that, right? I give him a C because I think they're in that wave of yes, we can compete, but can we compete? Towards if you look at the Cardinals, they're the Cardinals, but they're gonna lose 3 legends this year, right? 3 legends, I believe is this. That's my dark horse, and I'll talk about that later. But Cardinals, I'm gonna give them a B just because they have a lot of storylines that come with their team. They have a lot of young players behind those 3 that support, and I just love the story that the Cardinals are bringing. What you got, Mario?
So in Cincinnati, I'm not gonna give them an F, but I will give them a D minus. All right, they're the 2 teams, both are D's. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. They're both in rebuilding. They have players coming up. They'll be ready in a few years. They are what they are. They're committed to that. Joey Votto's probably on his last leg. I'll give them both D's on that part. Chicago, I give a D. Chicago, I give a D as well. Don't know the direct. Those 3 teams, you know the direction that they're going. Chicago is like, they're like trying to hold on to something, and I don't know. I think they're just trying to keep asses in seats. Really, is probably what it is.
Let them go.
I don't know. Yeah, Milwaukee. This is a pretty quick division for me. Milwaukee, I have a C minus. They can't hit.
Yeah.
They can pitch lights out. They can't hit. Oh, there's my son. He wants to say what's up.
Hello.
But yeah, they can't hit. And Yelich looks like a shell of his former self. And that's one of their best hitters. Like, they don't have the bats to compete. They can pitch with the best of them. Bullpen starters, they got it all in that regard. They just can't hit. That's a C minus for me. St. Louis, I have at an A because I didn't think they were going to be as good as what they were this year. Goldschmidt is, to me, probably the MVP of the National League.
Hands down to me.
Pujols has been playing better this year than he has the past 5 years, which is weird to me. Arenado's been fantastic. The whole team's been great. Waino gets better with age, which is crazy. I give St. Louis an A. I think they've been fantastic this year.
Outperforming what they were, huh? What's up, Kyle?
Yeah.
I'm pretty right on par with Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Chicago.
Yeah, that's easy to talk about.
Chicago needs to figure it out. And as much and storied as that team is, they have to figure out whether they're going to completely rebuild or just ride it out and make their fans even more mad than they already are. You said something, Mario. You said they'll be ready in a few years with Pittsburgh. In my 29 years of life, Pittsburgh has not been that team.
I agree. They got 3 pieces to build around, though, right now. They got 3 very, very good pieces to build around. You got O'Neal Cruz, you got Brian Hayes, and you got Brian Reynolds to build around. Those are 3 very solid pieces. Like, unless they become sellers, those are 3 very solid pieces to build around.
And like y'all, I love Cruz. That man is a menace, and he came out of a lab. You can't tell me otherwise.
He's just gotta get more consistent with his hitting. But other than that, like, he does some crazy things.
With Milwaukee, I'll give him a C, because I mean, they got rid of Hader at the right time, got some money,
Damn right they did.
but like you said, they can't hit. Yelich is nowhere
Yeah.
near the person that he once was.
Which is crazy. The drop off was weird. He had that MVP chase, and then he was like
Fact.
off a cliff, which was crazy.
Alright.
Off a cliff.
I'm gonna give St. Louis an A+ because of the story. Living 3 hours away from St. Louis, or growing up 3 hours away from St. Louis, most of my friends are Cardinal fans, and I hate to say this. I think it just ending Pujols' career and Molina's career and Wainwright's on like this really high sense of urgency and wanting to get that title for St. Louis. And like you said, Goldschmidt, without a doubt, the MVP. But he's got another player on his team that is playing right there, like right here, and that's on the other corner with Nolan.
Yeah.
St. Louis's future with them two is very, very bright.
It'll be interesting if he opts out this year and chases more money, though.
Who, Nolan?
Arenado can opt out this year.
I don't think he will. I think he stays and sees what's the future with him and Goldschmidt on the same team, and then them replacing a few people. But I think he stays.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah. I have a lot to say about this Cardinals team when it comes to the playoffs. So I'm excited. You don't understand. I cannot wait. So we're gonna talk about the last National League division, the East, which is probably the better out of the three. Not really, but yes, actually, after seeing the rankings, they absolutely are. This is probably my first F Nationals. I'm not even gonna talk about it. Mackenzie Gore, I like. They have a really good. They have him, but that's. I don't want to talk about that team. The Marlins are the Marlins. I don't know what you're doing, so I'm gonna give you an F2. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know.
You're talking about me giving Fs. Now you're passing them out like it's candy on trick or treat.
Well,
I go put one for
you get an F.
Well,
I'll get F.
After listening to y'all, I'm like, you know what? I need to be more harsh. So this is where I'm gonna go harsh on the NL East. Because after that, Phillies, I'm gonna give them a B-. I don't have much to say about that team. I really didn't see them making it, but they surprised me. I'm not a residential fan of Bryce Harper, but I am a real big fan of his. I like him too. I like the team. The team, I don't think they're gonna go far, but for now, I'll just give them a B-. The next two teams are the teams that I want to talk about. The Mets, I'm gonna give them A because there's no other pitching ace. You have two aces essentially on one team. They didn't play majority of the year, and you still were competing for first place in that division. Okay. It's freaking crazy to know. And and top 10, top 5 maybe closer intros of all time. So we have to bring that up. Okay, the Mets all around as a team, they're trading. They trade deadlines to get those Vogelback and what's his name? Darren Ruff. That was clutch for that team, and it shows. There's nothing more to say. I give them an A. Braves. I mean, A. That was easy. Yeah. That was easy. Yeah. You win a World Series. You do lose Freddie Freeman, but you get Matt Olson to complete that first base, and you get Ronald Acuna back. I mean, that's enough. You're talking about a third baseman, Austin Riley, who deserves every penny that he got, who by far was snubbed at starting this year in the All-Star game. That's because my Giants aren't there. The other team that's in my household is the Atlanta Braves, so that's the team we're gonna root for to win it. But I'll talk about the playoff ones later. But yeah, those two teams are gonna really make impacts in this playoffs. Go ahead, Mario.
So we're on different pages on Washington.
Oh shit!
I give Washington a C+ to a B-. I'll tell you why.
Please tell me.
They knew who they were. They knew they weren't keeping Soto. and they got what they could get for him.
They got a lot.
They got a lot for him. And yes, they're bad right now, but they like I said, they knew what they had. They knew that they weren't going to be able to keep him. So they were conscious to say, we're not going to let him walk and get nothing for him. And I think the way Soto's playing, they could have very well been winners in the draft, depending on how these guys come in. Okay? I give them a C+ right now because they knew they were committed. They stuck to that lane. We know what they are. They're rebuilding. It is what it is. Miami, I give a D because I thought they were going to be a lot better than what they were going to be this year. You got Down Mattingly's going to be stepping away after the season. I think that was a good move for both parties. They underachieved. Sandy Alcantara has been a bright spot for them though.
Yeah.
So, Philly I give a B. And I give them a B because they've overcome bad pitching, which is something they couldn't do in the past year. Their bullpen has always been bad, but they've been able to overcome it and make it to the playoffs, barring any crazy collapse in the next 3 games. The Mets I originally was going to give a B- because they had first place locked down and they tanked it to Atlanta. And I'm gonna stick with the B-, and I've been pretty high on the Mets. Yeah, they haven't had those players. They haven't had DeGrom. They haven't had Scherzer for a good chunk of the season. But they had a good grip on first place for quite some time to just let it go at the end, which is, to me, as somebody who was rooting for the Mets, it's disappointing. And it's interesting to see if that's gonna hold firm in the playoffs because they just got swept by Atlanta. Atlanta, I'm giving an A because they were able to bring in. They lost Freddie Freeman. They brought in Olsen. Didn't really miss a step. Michael Harris, who I think is probably the National League Rookie of the Year, him or Spencer Strider could be Rookie of the Year, either or. Von Grissom, I think is going to be fantastic. And what's crazy is if Von Grissom is as good as advertised, that's going to make Dansby Swanson expendable.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Dansby Swanson is fantastic. But also they were smart. They locked up all their players through at least like 2028.
Yeah.
They've been hitting all the right notes all year. I'd probably give them an A+ for everything they've been doing. And that's probably my first A+ year.
Kyle?
So.
Once again, we're pretty much, me and Fred is right on par with this one.
This man gave him a C-, bro.
You're not wrong in your grading. I'm not going to say that, but I think the way you graded could be skewed. You grade on what, to me, it's an F because of how the season went. Yes, you gave up a lot of, you gave away Juan Soto and Josh Bell.
But I also compare the expectation as to what they were this season, and nobody thought they were making the playoffs either.
Not wrong. You're not wrong.
I grade now. I'm trying to grade now to expectation. You know what I mean?
I see that.
So
Miami, I thought they were going to be a lot better with all of their players. But I'm going to give them a D. Philly, as much as Bryce is amazing and everything, I'm surprised they're where they are. Or even having the shot being in the wild card. Like you said, Mario, the pitching is horrendous.
Yeah, the pitching is bad. It's just not good. And they traded for Noah Syndergaard, and even he was average.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes forward, but I think I'm going to probably just stick with middle of the pack C with them. The Mets, like y'all said, they had a grip on first place for a while. But with everybody healthy in their pitching core, I think this team is going to be very scary in the postseason. So I gave them a B+. The Braves, it has to be an A+.
Thanks.
I hate having like two teams, but Atlanta's my second team. And they're
I
going to be
wonder
great.
why.
Not only for my wife, who is
That's
from
the only
Georgia,
reason. Yeah, that's my wife too. So.
but I'm also a huge Chipper Jones fan. So it goes back before I even knew who Alexis Mask was. I think they're going to be fantastic in the future. Like, they're great now, but I think in years to come, they're going to be fantastic and even compete to be the top team in the National League. Facing the Dodgers, who year in, year out through the regular season is literally top. I think the Braves are going to be competing for that spot, but we'll see how the postseason goes.
Okay. So
I can't wait to talk about this next division.
So since we went from West Central to East, we're doing the American League West Central to East. So I'm not even gonna. I'm not even gonna start. I'm just gonna agree to disagree with both of y'all. I want the residential A's AAA team to go ahead and discuss the American League West.
Angels, Texas, A's, F's. All the way through. All three of them F's.
Fact.
All three of them F's.
Fact.
The A's, I've gone on record for multiple episodes.
I give them a G.
A's, which is so unfortunate. And, like, they're god-awful. They're bad to their fans. The A's are just bad. And I love Oakland. I still love the A's internally, but they're just bad. Texas Rangers. You give up all that money for Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, and you get nothing. That's an app. You spent over $400 million on those two guys. They were supposed to be those cornerstone middle infielder duo. Awful. Been bad. Angels. The biggest misuse of generational talent I've ever seen in any sport on the face of the earth.
Well said.
Okay. The biggest misuse of generational talent. All right, everybody is all on the Ohtani train as he's, the second coming of Jesus Christ on the baseball field himself, including myself. Everybody's, Mike Trout. He's the greatest center fielder on earth. They're awful. They're just bad. Okay, they're just god awful. Vinny.
It doesn't hug you again.
Oh well, you're watching that, bud. I love you. Anyways.
Different one.
Yeah. He's also giving them 3 Fs.
Yeah, he's also giving
them 3 Fs.
3 Fs.
Hold on a sec. Okay. So, anyways, the Seattle A+. Nobody thought they were coming to the playoffs, and they've been fantastic. All right, they've been fantastic. Nobody thought they were going to be where they were. Ty France has been amazing. Rodriguez is amazing. They've carried this whole team. Everybody had questions about Robbie Ray when he was brought over, that he was not being the same Cy Young player that he was prior to. That's an A+ for me. First time in the playoffs in 21 years. That's why I'm wearing this hat. All right. Houston, they're gonna be an A in the regular season regardless. What can I not say about Houston that hasn't been said before? I think that they're probably going to be in the World Series, most likely. Yeah, maybe.
You changing your...
But, things have kind of been a little bit different lately, all right? I made some predictions in the year. We'll make some revisions when we hit the playoff brackets, all right? But the AL West is a very, boom or bust A or F division in my eyes. You got the 2 A's and then triple F, but not a good triple F. But it's not a good triple F, Fred. It's not food, family, and football. They suck. So they're all F's. So, but that's me.
No tweeners. No tweeners.
No, couldn't wait about this division.
Go ahead, Kyle.
3 F's. The bottom of the... Like Mario said, you literally have 2 of the greatest players as of right now to play on one team. And one of them doing it from both sides of the field, pitching and being great at both. Uh, the Angels got to be better. The Rangers are the Rangers, and Athletics are probably, in my opinion, the worst team in baseball. Seattle, I can't go as high as Mario. I cannot go as high as Mario. Yes, they broke the streak of not being in the playoffs, but I'll give them a B. I'll give them a B.
Nobody thought this team was going to be in the playoffs, but me. Nobody.
You're not wrong, but B's a good starting point for this team. All right, Astros, I'll give them an A minus only because they're the Astros. They're gonna be there every year in the West because of who they compete against, and
Yeah.
it's just now just become normal. I remember a day not too long ago, well, maybe long ago now, that the Astros were a crap organization. They switched division.
Well, though.
They switched division,
They should draft well, though.
and it just completely changed them. So I think they're here for the long haul of being where they are now, and I think that's an A.
I'm going with you, Kyle. 3 Fs, of course, but I'm not gonna give a with the Mariners. I'll give them a B plus. Only just because, of course, yes, they're unexpectedly in the playoffs, right? No one predicted it, like Mr. Residential says. But again, I like the team, right? It's just I'm not gonna give them an A yet because you're going off of expectation. I mean, they're right there. So I'm not even gonna talk about the Astros. The Astros are the Astros. Yeah, that's it for the AL West. This is the one that I want to talk about mostly, the Central. We'll talk about the American League Central because I know someone that's nodding his head right now wants to talk. I'll give you my quick. I'll give you my quick takes. Tigers, Royals, Fs, and then Twins. I'll give you a D because I thought you were gonna do better. White Sox, you're right there where you're supposed to be. C minus, I'll give you. And then the Guardians, I knew they were good. I didn't think they were that good. As much as you kept like harping on it, Mario, I didn't think they were 90 wins good. You know what I mean? Like, so kudos to you for getting this prediction. I'll give you your flowers. So like the pivot, I'm gonna be Freddie Flowers right now and give you your flowers, right? You did call the Guardians. I was with the White Sox and Twins at the time. So I'll let you bask again, but the Guardians, I'll give them a B plus A minus range, but only because of the shock of them doing what they did. I really thought it was a 3-team like race. It was even close. So
It at the break, it was a 3-team race.
yes,
Yeah,
It was.
but now that we have results, the grades have to be what it is. Like, it was even close. So the Guardians definitely, I'll give them A minus, just to respect them for being 11 games ahead of the next team. So go ahead, Mario.
I'm gonna give Kansas City a D plus, and that's strictly off the fact that of Bobby Witt alone is the only reason I'm giving him a D plus. That he looks like he's going to become the next great third baseman in baseball. He's got it all. He's what you would call that next 5-tool player. He's got the power. He's got the speed. He can hit for contact. He's a great fielder. Fantastic arm. I think Bobby Witt's that next guy. I'd like to see them move him from third to short. I think he's got that range, and I think he can play it very well. So I'll give him a D plus in that. Well, the same reason I'm giving them a D plus is the same reason I'm giving Detroit an F, because they mishandled Spencer Torkelson, and I thought he was going to be the guy for first base, and he looks like he just can't hit to save his life. Minnesota, I give a C minus, maybe a D plus, because they had a hold on that first place. They made it the trade for Jorge Lopez, which I bought into that hype because I thought they were going to be the 6th team in the playoffs, and they just couldn't hold up, really. Chicago, I'm giving them a C, and the reason I'm giving them a C is this for 2 reasons. One, Lou Bob couldn't stay healthy, and I think if he was healthy, they would have been a better team. And then 2, I think Tony La Russa just mismanaged that team.
Man,
And I was
sleeping during games.
I was a big Tony La Russa fan growing up with the A's and St. Louis, and I just think he's just one of those guys that never
He's got to go, bro.
He never adapted to the times. You know what I mean? I think he just stayed stuck in his ways, and sports are always ever changing. You know, especially baseball and football and stuff like that. And you can't just be the same guy you were in the 90s and early 2000s in 2022. So
keep up with the times.
Cleveland, I'm gonna give an A+. I'm the only person that was on the Cleveland train. I think maybe outside of the state of Ohio, I was the only person on the Cleveland train. All right, youngest team in baseball. They took a hold of first place, never gave it up. They made almost no trade at the deadline, and they held firm. Steven Kwan looked fantastic. If Julio Rodriguez wasn't here this year, I think that would probably be my 1 or 2 for Rookie of the Year in the American League. He's been fantastic. I'm just on an A+ on Cleveland, so I'm on an A+ with Cleveland. I had them, y'all didn't. I'm gonna hold firm on that.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Kansas City for me and Detroit both get Fs.
We had a lot of Fs today. We had a lot of Fs today.
I tried not to.
When it comes to Minnesota, I'm going to break it down into 2 halves of the season. Minnesota, for me, first half of the season, I'll give them a B. They were up there. They were holding tight on first place for a while. But second half of the season, I'm going to give them an F.
Whoosh.
So that averages out to what? A D+, maybe, roughly, for the overall season. To me, I was expecting them to be in that Cleveland spot. I was expecting them to at least, I'm not saying have 90 wins like Cleveland did, but at least be up there, either winning the division or being a wild card team, and they were neither. The White Sox, like y'all said, I'll give them a B-. If y'all didn't know this, Tony La Russa stepped down as being manager.
Oh, good.
Over health concerns. So you can't blame the last 5 weeks on him. All right.
What? Sleep apnea?
We'll call it health concerns.
Hey, sleep
apnea? That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'll give Cleveland an A.
Yeah.
I was wrong on my prediction with them. I didn't expect them to be there. I didn't expect them to win 90 games, which is absolutely insane to me. But I'll give them an A, and being the youngest team in baseball, we'll see how they react to the playoff lights. And the game doesn't change. It's just the atmosphere changes, and we'll see how that young team holds up in the playoffs.
I like brother. I'll tell you like this. I'm real big on young teams, right? But like, man, just to see 90, you know what I mean? Like for the Cleveland, unexpected for me and Kyle, right? I knew they were a good team, but I didn't think they were that good of a team. So like again, we're gonna give you your flowers, Mario, but that's the last time I'm gonna give you flowers, okay? So we're going to the.
You know what? Chicago. Look out for Chicago next year, though. They get a new manager. They have fantastic pitching.
Right.
They have fantastic offensive pieces to build around. You got Tim Anderson. You got, Eloy Jimenez. You got Jose Abreu. You got Luis Robert. You got a lot of good players in Chicago.
Yasmani Grandal.
I think the only 2 reasons Chicago is what they were this year was Luis Robert couldn't stay healthy, and La Russa is outdated as hell.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a funny thing because literally on Twitter and on TikTok, they were watching it where a fan gave La Russa advice and he took it. Cause like, bro, you're taking advice from a fan?
And I've met Tony La Russa, like when he was coherent. And like I don't. This is even like two totally different people.
You're taking
Two
advice
totally.
from a fan, bro. Like that's crazy. So let's go for
Yeah.
this last division. There's a lot of things that happen in this division. I'm really disappointed in Kyle's team because I was big on their team too. Let's talk about the American League East. Who wanted to go? Actually, we're gonna go
I'll
Mario. Mario, go
go
first.
first.
No, Kyle,
Okay.
you last.
Okay. I gave Boston a D because they just don't know who they are right now. You're getting older in your star players. You know you're not keeping Xander Bogaerts. I don't know if they're going to keep Devers. I think at this point in time, blow it up and rebuild. Chris Sale made it back for a total of I think 1 inning pitched. You know what I mean? Bobby Dahlbeck was awful. I give him a D. They underachieved for who they have on that roster, and I think the writing is on the wall that it's time to rebuild. So, Baltimore, I'm gonna give a B minus.
You were really high on them too.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a B minus. They're gonna be ready next year. They got the pieces. They're gonna be ready next year. I think they got a few 2 or 3 starters that I think will be ready by next year. You got Grayson Rodriguez, DJ Hall. Those 2 guys are the names to look out for. You called up all your young guys for batting. You got Gunnar Henderson you called up. You got Adley Rutschman you called up. Those are going to be the 2 guys and Cedric Mullen that you build around. They got rid of who was it? The first baseman that I really like that they got rid of to Houston.
Man, Trey.
Trey Mancini. I like Trey Mancini, but I think Ryan Mountcastle, they're both the same guy. I think so.
One's
You get
younger.
rid of the more expensive older guy. You get what you can get from. You keep Ryan Mountcastle. You don't really miss a beat. I think that they got rid of Jorge Lopez, which I wish they didn't, but I know
Right.
I see why they
Agreed.
did. I give them a B minus, and I've been high on them, and they're right at the record around that I thought they were gonna be. Tampa Bay, I'm gonna give an A, and I'll tell you why. They have the 4th lowest payroll in baseball. Nobody's talking about them, and they're constantly overachieving for what they have in a very small market. Tampa gets an A for me. Toronto gets a B minus for me because I thought Toronto was going to be what Houston or the Yankees are this year. I was very high on Toronto this year, and they just seem to underachieve. They fired their manager halfway through the season. I think they underachieved for the players that they had, and I thought they were going to be a lot better than what they had. However, Alek Manoah is the next great thing pitching wise. That dude's
I
disgusting.
love his personality too.
but I
It's
think-
good for baseball.
I don't think the bats were there this year. I mean, they were good enough to get them in the playoffs, which is great. But I'm going to give them B minus because I think they were going to be better than what they are now. A's or the A's, not the A's. A's still get an F. The Yankees. Sorry about that. the Yankees. I'm giving a B. And the only thing that's keeping them where they are is Judge. They're not that great of a team without Aaron Judge. And I think they know that, and I think they're now panicking because they're going to have to pay this man $40 million a year to keep him. And they were fantastic the first half of the season, then they dropped off. I'm going to give them a B, and I think they're kind of like tailing a little bit into the playoffs there.
All right, well, Kyle, before you go, I'm gonna tell you like this. I agree 100% with what Mario said, so I'm not gonna even explain my take. Go ahead, defend your Red Sox.
I think I agree with everything Mario said, except for one team and one team in particular. I'm giving Boston an X.
Ooh, man, that's your team,
Well,
so it's gonna be hard.
I feel like we're all harsher on our own teams.
Right.
I'll
I get
explain
that.
why. To have that
get that.
amount of talent on your team and to finish last in the division and pretty much say the season's done and the future is in jeopardy. We have a lot of players about to become free agents. Chris Sale, it is what it is. We can get rid of him. Can't stay healthy. I think the biggest person we're gonna lose this year is Xander.
Damn.
Which hurts, but baseball's a game and where people want to get paid. It's okay. Like Mario said, the Yankees are only good because Judge, and that man's about to get paid.
There he goes.
He didn't take a deal last year. He bet on himself, and it paid off
Yeah.
exponentially. And as much as I hate to say that, good for him on betting on himself, and hopefully he leaves the Yankees. That's all I'm gonna say.
Go to the Bay. Come
Like,
on. Go to
he
the
gonna
Bay
get
Area.
paid. Like, get him to a team that actually wants him instead of trying to give him a cheap deal.
Like I said, I'm not even going to talk about the division. You guys hit it on the head. What
Yeah.
I really want to go through is we talked about the divisions. We talked about our grades. Let's get to this playoff bracket, okay? And then once we're done with that, then we'll talk about two other things, and then we can call it a day. But we're going to talk about this playoff brackets, all right? Your first seed. So we're going to talk about the AL, all right? You got Houston at the 1. Yankees got
Yep.
the 2. Cleveland got the 3. Blue Jays got the 4. Your Mariners got the 5. Tampa Bay with the 6. All right, you're looking at that AL. Talk to me bracket by bracket how you see this going all the way towards the World Series. Mario, you're first. Kyle, you're next. I'll go last.
So, I'll start from the one from the wild card. I have Cleveland beating Tampa Bay. I just think they're the better team. I'm also tooting the Cleveland horn, but I think Cleveland's just the better team. And then two teams that I was high on, and between Seattle and Toronto, which is
They're playing together.
I'm looking forward to that series. You got to pick one. There's no ties in the playoffs. I think Seattle makes some noise and beats Toronto.
Okay.
I think Toronto's I don't believe in them. I don't believe in them. From there, I have New York beating Cleveland, unfortunately, and then I got Houston beating Seattle, and then I have Houston beating the Yankees in the playoffs to go to the World Series. That's what I got for my American League.
What about you, Kyle?
Actually, the same. Except, I think Toronto pulls it off with Seattle.
But you still have it Houston in the World Series?
Yeah, I still have Houston in the World Series.
Okay, for me, it's the same all the way up into the ALCS. I still am staying with the New York Yankees. I'm going New York Yankees over the Astros. But when it comes to the wild card, I don't think Cleveland. I think Cleveland's train stops there. I'm going with the Tampa Bay team. When it comes to Seattle and the Blue Jays, that's a real tough one because I like both teams. But because of the hype of Seattle not making the playoffs for so long, I believe that helps them momentumly get over that hump and gets into the ALDS. Of course, they're going to have to go against Houston. So Houston goes up, but I really believe in that Yankees team more than both of y'all do. I am a diehard. I hate the freaking Astros, bro. I can't stand that team. So now we're talking about the National League, which is an LA team is number 1. I'm not even gonna recognize them. And then we got the Braves at number 2. We got the Cardinals at 3. I love this one because I can't wait to talk. The Mets at 4, the Padres 5, Philly 6. Mario, go ahead.
So, St. Louis and the Phillies, and as much as like the Phillies, I'm pretty sure St. Louis is gonna sweep the Phillies. I don't think the Phillies have a chance. I don't even think like the 6th seed, whoever makes it, I don't even think should be there, in my opinion. Then out of San Diego, New York, I have the Mets beating the Padres.
That NLDS is gonna be nasty, bro.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the whole National League playoffs is just world's going to be more entertaining than the American League playoffs. I'm going to start from the Braves Cardinals before I get into the Mets and Yankees.
Uh-oh.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
Dodgers.
Braves. I just think I think they're the best team in this playoffs. I think
Yes,
the Braves are the
I
best team
agree
in
on
the playoffs.
that.
So I got the Braves beaten. Like, screw the record. I think the Braves are the best team in this playoffs, and they're the most ready team for this playoffs. I have the
Complete.
Braves beaten. I think the Braves in St. Louis goes 6. I think it's 6. Is that best of 5 or best of 7? If it's best of 5, it'll go 4.
7, I think.
Is it? I think it'll go 6. I think the Braves beat the Cardinals. I got the Mets beating LA, and I'll for a few reasons. You're gonna have to go against two of the best pitchers in baseball back to back, and that's gonna be tough. Um,
You muted.
You're muted, Mario.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm muted because I'm
Okay.
talking to the kid. I know. So I'm trying not to let that audio get on the radio on this thing. So hold
We're kids. I mean, we're fathers.
Oh,
I meant.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a father first. So, anyways, I don't buy the Dodgers. The Dodgers have always underachieved. Any team can be good for 60 games on a shortened season. I just don't think that they're gonna beat the Mets. I don't think they just have that it in them. But I mean, they also have Joey Gallo, and Joey Gallo is a good luck charm. So I could be completely wrong. I got the
So-
Mets and Atlanta in the NLCS. And from there, man, this is hard for me to say, but I got Atlanta beating the Mets.
Ooh.
They just swept them, and I think Atlanta has the Mets number, and like I said, I think they're the best team in this playoffs, National League or American League.
That's good.
And
So
with
you
that,
have
I got Atlanta and Houston, and I got Atlanta winning it again,
repeat.
becoming winning back to back for the first time in
Since the Yankees?
years. Yeah, I think the Yankees will last them do it. Yeah, I got Atlanta winning it all.
What's up, Kyle? I like that take though.
I got the Mets and Cardinals moving on. I think the Cardinals sweep Philly.
Yeah.
I think the San Diego Mets series will be a good one. But I don't think San Diego hold that off long enough. And as much as it pains me to say this, I think the storybook ending on the 3 Cardinal greats ends in Atlanta. It could very well go 7, just as like them willing them to go 7 games. But I think the Braves move on. I'm right there with you, Mario, with the Mets taking LA down. I think the Mets, like you said, powerhouse with the 2 aces, is going to be very hard for LA to overcome. I actually have Atlanta in the World Series. As I think that I guarantee that game goes that series goes 7 in the NLCS, with Atlanta taking game 7.
So you have Atlanta and Astros.
Houston, yeah, that's hard. I think that one either goes 6 or 7, and Atlanta going back to back. A lot of stuff could happen between now and then, but like Mario said, I think Atlanta's from top to bottom is the best team in the playoffs, and I think it'll be shown.
No, those are great takes. But so who's your World Series?
Atlanta.
Okay, you had Atlanta too, right? You had so we have 2 repeats. All right, so it's my take. Okay, Philly gets swept by the Cardinals, so you have
Yep.
the Braves and Cardinals going at it. I'm not a fan of the Padres team. Yeah, you have big names. I think they get one win out of that whole time. It's not as close as far as what Kyle's explaining. I think New York gets the win there. Now we have the Dodgers, Mets, Braves, Cardinals, like we all predicted. It's too easy for me to be a Giants fan and say LA's losing, but really, what you guys said literally nailed it on the head. I really don't think. First of all, I've always been an advocate of LA can't buy a ring besides if it's COVID. LA's team is really good. Don't get me wrong. For all my Dodger friends in the Army, I'm not hating on your team, but I never believed in them ever like in the playoffs. I really think they're just really good. 110, that's great. But I just don't think you guys have enough to finish the Mets. Like, you have Max Scherzer coming in, who used to be on your team, and he's probably gonna want to prove some shit, right? I just think there's a lot going on with the Mets. I got them going forward too. I also see this game going this series going 6. For the Braves and the Cardinals, Braves, yes, I got, but I'm gonna tell you something as a dark horse. Don't be surprised if the Cardinals make it to the NLCS or the World Series.
Yeah. That's not a hot take. That's like
so I just wanted to put it out there because no one did.
No, yeah.
So the Cardinals are out of the whole bracket. I think it's the third team that I'm like, don't be surprised that they get to the World Series because you guys have Astros. Okay, so the 4 teams. Mets, Braves, Yankees, Astros, that's given. But that Cardinals team, I really think because they're rallying behind those 3 legends, I really think that helps. You see the Giants when they have the Misfits, they're not the best team in the playoffs, but they had the momentum and rallying over some stuff. So that go ahead, Mario, before I keep going.
No, like I wouldn't be shocked if they made it to the World Series.
Yeah, so that's my dark horse to go to the World Series in the NL. But if I'm gonna be real, okay, we have Braves. The Braves are the most complete team in this whole bracket. So I got the Braves and Mets. Okay, I am going with the Mets strictly because 2 things. It's very rare that a team. Well, it's not rare that they go to the World Series, but if I do bring the Braves to the World Series, I got them winning it. But I don't think they're repeating. I just don't, analytically, like it's hard for me to say that, and I know I hate that word a lot. But so
I'm crazy. They're better than they were last year.
They are, they absolutely are. But I'm just going with like, what year was it that they repeated the Yankees? That was what
Early
about
2000s, right?
yeah, like 15, 16, probably 18 years ago. This is a long time. So I'm not discounting because the Braves winning it is not a surprise either. But I'm just gonna go with that. I just don't believe in repeating in a sport that I know it's hard to repeat to begin with, just like football. So I'm going with the Mets going in. I've always been predicting this Subway Series being the World Series this year. I got the Mets winning the World Series this year. I really do think that DeGrom and Max Scherzer are the difference maker in this whole thing. I know bats are bats, but we've seen less win with great pitching. Like as far as bats,
I'd love to see the Mets win it.
yeah. So I'm going, and it hurts because if you see a black eye on me, it's because my wife watched this podcast. And saw that I didn't pick the Braves, so that's my absolute prediction about that. Okay, so
what's crazy is like you have 1, 2, 3, 4 teams from the National League that like very well could be in there and win it.
Not the Dodgers.
Where the Dodgers are one of those teams that I think could win it. One of those 4 teams: Dodgers, Braves, St. Louis, Mets. I could see either one of those teams there. On the AL side, it's gotta either be Mets or Houston, unless like one of these 4 teams plays out of their minds.
Mets or Houston?
He means the Yankees.
Yeah. My bad. Mets or the Yankees. That's what I mean. Yep.
You threw me off.
The Yankees. No, my bad. Sorry. Houston or the Astros, or Houston or the Mets. I can't even word right now. I'm sorry.
That team.
All right,
One of
so
these teams in the AL play absolutely crazy.
okay,
They
so
just
we're
go
about to
off.
finish this podcast off with 2 takes. That these are the notes that Mario brought out, and I like them. Let's talk about the home run chase. Okay, let's talk about the home run chase with Judge. And he got his sleeves going up. Go ahead, Mario. You start.
Very entertaining first and foremost this year. I think the Yankees Judge race has been more entertaining. I think that with Pujols has had a very uncharacteristic season that he has not had in 3 years or 4 years. Maybe he found the fountain of youth. Maybe people are pitching him a little.
Ooh, Kyle's ready.
Stop
Who
it.
knows?
Stop
Kyle's
it.
ready.
Who knows?
Stop it.
Maybe. But all I can say is Aaron Judge is not getting the same treatment that Albert Pujols is getting at the plate. Say what you want to say about that, but I think it's just as suspicious as Derek Jeter's 3,000th home run hit. Call it what it is. I think people love certain people so much they're willing to groove a little bit more and make, but hey, maybe that's just me.
So you're intentionally saying that they're stat packing.
That's what he's saying.
Absolutely.
And
100%.
he's been saying it.
100%. 100%. Granted, number 700 was, yes, it was a low inside slider, whatever.
That wasn't a group pitch.
That was not, but let's go look back at like 690 to like 699. This man was hitting
Middle
that he hasn't hit in over a decade. But hey,
That's not true, first off. Not a
maybe,
decade.
no.
Woo,
Okay.
we're getting
The last
spicy. We're getting spicy at the end of this podcast. Go ahead, Kyle.
Look, man.
Right.
Maybe he's just eating his Wheaties.
See, exactly. So,
The plátanos.
yes, the Judge home run chase for the AL record, I have to say that because it is not a record. Barry Bonds holds that title.
With an asterisk.
Respectfully.
Hold on. You're
Were
saying
you
with
saying
an
anything on the
asterisk,
drug
right?
test? What
Hold
did I
on.
say?
You're saying
It's
with
true.
an asterisk, right?
But what?
You're saying with an asterisk, right?
Yeah, Judd, fucking, all of them. Him, McGuire, Sosa, they all juices.
So-
Ooh, don't let me get the
That same
topic on
energy.
this.
All right, keep that same energy when you debate who the home run champion is. Overall
Hank Aaron.
time.
Hank Aaron.
You don't think that man was juicing? You'd
mean,
be a fool
look,
not to believe it.
Look, any of them, anybody
You would be
before 2000s could have been juicing. Babe Ruth was probably taking some shit too. They all could have
Babe
been juicing,
Ruth
bro.
was corking bats.
So,
I don't
by your
doubt it.
theory,
I don't doubt that.
by
I
your theory,
don't-
who's the home run champion?
It's
Don't
Bonds. It's Bonds. It is. Like, you gotta think though. Before Kyle continues, like, cheating has been part of baseball since ages, bro.
Part of all
Though,
sports.
so think about this though. It wasn't cheating for steroids until it became a drug effect, like regulation, right?
Yes.
You were allowed. So the same thing applies when Babe Ruth hit the home run record, but he was corking bats at the time, and that wasn't illegal at the time.
Facts.
At the time, yes.
At the
All
time,
right, we're
so
gonna go out-
bro, let's let all that go out the window.
Then yes, if we go out that window, yes, those are the actual home run kings. Cool, whatever. But I mean,
I'm
We're-
ready.
Go ahead,
We're
Kyle.
gonna go off of your theory just for one more second.
oh my god.
If you think that Barry Bonds' season record has an asterisk and his career record has an asterisk, guess who would be the home run king?
Ooh.
Just take a guess, because Barry Bonds cheated.
Okay.
Hank Aaron's definitely
Allegedly,
guaranteed.
because he wasn't guilty.
That man
Allegedly.
admitted to it. Okay, I still think he's the
this is
king.
where we're going? Then it would be Pujols? Is that what you're
Yeah.
getting at? Is that what
exactly.
you're getting at? Then it would be
It would
Pujols?
be
Pujols had,
100% Pujols.
Pujols had those rumors too.
But he never tested positive.
And he's also
Bonds
90
didn't
years
either.
old. He's
But
also
Bonds
90
admitted
years
to
old.
taking it.
He took Balco. He took some grease on his elbow.
Now to say Pujols does not deserve that 702, you would be a fool.
I didn't say that. He deserves everything. He deserves everything good that happens to him.
Consider that he's getting pitches thrown
Listen,
directly down the middle.
Listen.
Honestly, hit a home run.
Look,
It's stupid.
Look, Pujols deserves everything good that's happened to him, and I believe he's deserved everything that they've given him.
They haven't given. Okay.
All right.
So you're gonna tell me that pitchers always throw the exact pinpoint position and location that they want to throw.
For the most part,
Answer that. For the most part,
For the
okay.
most part.
Okay.
For the
So,
most part. Look,
hey,
look, all I can say is,
hold on.
yes, pitchers miss location. All I'm saying is, pitchers have been missing a lot more location with Pujols. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Suspiciously so, they've been missing their location a lot more with Pujols than they have been with Judge. That's it. And I love Pujols. I'm a Pujols stan.
I'm a Pujols fan too.
Yeah, we had that whole fucking, fantasy team. Pujols is my guy. All right, I'm all about Pujols. I am a Pujols stan. All I'm saying is these pitchers were missing the location a little bit more frequently when Pujols was up to bat.
And I want to put the conspiracy too is the pitchers that were pitching to him were pitchers that don't care about pitchers that don't care about their ERAs and shit at the time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
They were guys not chasing
home run derby pitchers.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think Judge, his season was phenomenal, but I don't think he breaks the AL record. I think it ends with him at 61.
They're pitching harder. They're pitching harder than that. But
and
I
they're
also think
walking him a lot more. Like no pitcher wants to be that guy to give up that last home run.
Which is true. I see that. All right, so before I truly cut this off, NL, AL, MVPs. What y'all got?
AL, I got Judge. I have Judge.
Over Shohei?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, that's tough. But you never been a big Shohei fan.
What I hate, and I love Shohei, and I'm a Shohei fan.
Did you just say this man was not a big Shohei fan?
No, I said I am a Shohei fan.
No, he's not. He always used to call him a mediocre pitcher.
Who?
You!
He's okay, listen.
Hold on.
I have film.
All right, hold on. Let's get this out of the way. All right, you said Judge. What's your take on why is it not?
The thing that I hate is no matter what I say, everybody's going to rebut with, well, Shohei can pitch. It's like, all right, I get it. Like, no, he can pitch too. Like, that's what they're going to say. I'd be like, Vladimir Guerrero should have won it last year because he had the Triple Crown. Judge almost has the Triple Crown this year. He should win it. But yeah, fuck it. They can't pitch. They don't pitch. Like, I get it. But also at the same time, like, what is Shohei contributing to? A sub 500 record? What are you most valuable to? Average?
That's not his fault.
Yeah,
majority of the wins the Angels get is off of him pitching.
Aaron Judge has single-handedly put this sad-ass team on his 6'7" back to the playoffs, and Shohei can't even do that to an above 500 record.
Before Kyle goes, I want to ask you this question. If you swap Judge and Shohei, do you not think the Yankees are making the playoffs?
No, I don't. Okay, that's a lie.
You'd be stupid.
That's a lie.
I do, but I don't think they would be as good as they are.
Do you think Judge would make the Angels any better than what they are?
He would make them better, but they would still.
They still wouldn't make the playoffs.
They still wouldn't make the playoffs.
I'm not saying. Look. I'm not saying I'm taking Shohei, but what I'm saying is you said that very easily.
I'm taking Judge. Well, I've also had like weeks to think about it. Like I've had like weeks to think about it. This thought process wasn't just a me spur of the moment answer.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's
I've been
fair.
thinking about who the MVP was for like a week or 2
That's
weeks now.
fair.
So,
That's
like,
fair.
I've got to think about it.
So you got Judge. What about you, Kyle? What you got?
All right, so I'm gonna start with last year. Who was the MVP?
Shohei Ohtani.
How did he get it? Unanimously, right?
Yeah, because he can hit and pitch.
Okay. This year.
And he had a
went-
3-something
Hold on,
ERA
hold
last
on.
year. Crazy.
This year, he went 15-8.
He pitched
Lowered
fantastic.
Hold on.
Yes.
Lowered his ERA to 2.35 with 213 strikeouts and hit 275 with 34 home runs, right? So how, in my mind, can you go from unanimous MVP to not getting it? And that's where Aaron Judge comes in and hits 61 home runs. That's the only reason why he gets it this year, is because he hit 61. And also, just to let you know, he can pitch. He pitched in high school and was pretty good at it.
Did you see Aaron Judge's senior high school stats in all sports?
That man
Yeah,
was
it's
disgusting in high school, bro.
I saw that shit. I'm like, holy shit.
But I mean, no, it's like he played at Linden High School in Stockton, so it's not like
It don't matter.
It has to be judged.
You still were going phenomenally, like, outrageous numbers in each sport.
He was also like 7 feet tall in high school. Like, what corner is gonna cover that?
That's true. I'm not lying on that. So you went Judge?
Yeah.
Judge.
So again, a historic season for Judge is the only reason why this is happening. Say Judge gets 50 home runs. It's unanimously going back to Shohei.
Yep.
Shohei, I still think is more better than what you think, Mario. I know you have high expectations and standards.
I'm a huge Shohei fan.
Bro,
I love Shohei.
Was it a no-hitter or a perfect game? A no-hitter going into the 8th, right?
Yeah.
And he fucked that one up, but still, like, come on, bro. Like, that, I don't know. Judge, I'm going Judge too. But what I'm saying is, it's harder to pick more than the way you chose it. Like, you didn't even give Shohei a chance. You said Judge.
I've been tottering on it.
Judge.
Because I didn't have too much time to think about it.
All right, so we got the American League. Let's go National League. I think this one is, you already said it. So
it's a two-man race, and both men are on the same team. Both men are on the same team. So.
I'm giving the edge to Goldschmidt, though.
I think it's Goldschmidt. I think he had the better season, but I'm not going to be upset on who. Like, I've given this MVP race way less thought than I've given the AL MVP race.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Like Mario said, it's a two-man race, and they're both on the same team, and they're opposite on the diamond. But it has to be Goldschmidt.
He was phenomenal this year, bro.
If he doesn't get it, it's a conspiracy theory with the MLB.
Oh, now we're good with conspiracy theories? Now we're good with throwing out conspiracy theories.
Paulie G, my boy Paulie G gets the MVP. I'll tell you like this, man, we had some hot takes on this one. I love it. I enjoyed it. I can't wait for the next one. We have the playoffs coming in. I believe our next one will be as soon as the wild card is done. We can talk about the wild card. Then we'll go into the rounds, NLDS, NLCS, World Series. This is a really good bracket that we have to watch. There's a lot of things that I said no, Kyle said no, you said no, and it actually happened. So I'm looking forward to this playoffs. I'm looking forward to our talks in Adios Pelota. But like every time, like, comment, subscribe on the Sutterflex podcast. When you go on YouTube, it's going to be LEFA0_. It's not the letter O, y'all. Y'all keep texting me saying, "Oh, I can't find it." It's not the letter. It's the number 0. Go ahead and go in there. You'll see the channel of Adios Pelota if you're a baseball fan. Plenty of takes that's gonna come out of this. There's a lot of things that Mario put in that I couldn't fit because in about 40 minutes, maybe less, my Niners are gonna play Monday Night Football, so I had to hurry up and get this done, get it going. I'll end up posting this, but fellas, this was fun.
It was.
I love talking baseball with y'all.
Cleveland and Seattle to the moon.
Oh my god.
Hell no.
Sailor Moon. All
Cleveland,
right,
the city of Cleveland better give me a key to the damn city.
They're not going to.
no.
No, they're not.
All right,
They don't
y'all.
exist.
Hey, I appreciate this. Hey, y'all enjoy y'all day. I'm so happy again that everything in your house, your family, everything's good. After the hurricane, whatever the name was, I don't remember. But I'll talk to y'all later again, man. I'll see you in the chats.
Alright.